The design of this commemorative coin, expected to be made of gold and featuring a picture of President Trump, has been approved by the Commission of Fine Arts, and the Treasury Department hopes to have the U.S. Mint start production soon. It's being called a commemorative coin to mark the 250th birthday of the United States. But former federal employee and retired lawyer James Ricker says that's not legal.
It goes against the statutes as they are written.
Under federal law, Title 31, which details money and finance, says only a portrait of a deceased individual may appear on United States currency and securities. It's that law that prompted Ricker to file a civil lawsuit at the U.S. District Court in Portland.
It's black and white. It's very straightforward. It's very clear that it's prohibited.
Federal officials claim a subsection of the law acts as a loophole, allowing the Treasury Secretary to use his discretion in some cases, including the minting of a commemorative gold coin featuring a living president. But Ricker argues that the coin would be considered legal tender and says the Treasury Secretary's discretion is very limited.
He can't override the statute that prohibits, that is the prohibition of having a living person on a coin. It doesn't work that way. There's no exemption within his discretion to allow that to happen.
Ricker understands there are more important issues our country is facing, but he says this is an issue he's able to tackle with his experience as a lawyer. He explains he plans to go the distance with the lawsuit.
I see a violation there, and I don't think they should get away with it. They push boundaries. They, being the administration, push boundaries all the time, and why not push back?
Officials say the coin will be a limited production with final details still waiting to be determined. In Portland, Vince Ibarra, Fox 12 Oregon.